Sledgelords, Adam and Danny.
Oh boy, Adam, old pal.
How you doing?
I had a great trip to Tahoe this weekend.
What's Tahoe?
Tahoe.
Tahoe.
The lake, the mountains.
Really?
Yeah, I brought a bunch of stuff to show you.
You got a big sackle here?
Yeah.
Satchel of treats?
Yeah. So, first of all, I went into this little antique bookstore, and they had all sorts of titles that you wouldn't be able to find in a Barnes & Noble or even on Amazon.
So this is stuff that's been canceled out of Republican libraries all over America?
Maybe. This is the comedians, and a lot of people in this were telling dirty jokes.
The comedians.
Supporting communism, so perhaps this got canceled. Yeah, check it out.
This is why I would never go into like an antique bookstore or whatever, because I would find a bunch of shit like this that makes no sense to people who live outside of the literal specific time period that this came out.
What are you talking about, man? That's got Sid Caesar and Mel Brooks in it.
Exactly. Mel Brooks. That just sounds like somebody who's too old for me to care what they're doing. Ellen DeGeneres is on this cover. Drugs, Thieves, Scoundrels, and the History of American Comedy.
Yeah, absolutely,
if I read this,
man.
I would forget everything it said in it immediately.
No, it's got great stuff, dude. Frank Fay, Milton Berle.
So this is a sincere thing that you're into. A pigskin.
I went to Big Five. I got football. Me and my dad, Adam, I can really sling this thing.
It's like every football ever.
No, this one's special. Because my dad and I played catch with it on the beach. And, those are those memories you can't buy. Heft it. Throw it around. It's not bad, right, Josh?
I could spin it.
Josh is a football fan. You could throw a spiral then.
I could, but we're in a pretty small room.
And then this is...
You found this on the trip?
That wasn't supposed to come out of the bag.
Dear God. This looks pretty good. I remember trying this one time.
What is that?
This is a mold of my fiance's vagina. The mother of my children, even.
Oh, my God. I'm so humiliated, man. I've just been... You gave me that link to your OnlyFans to do research on you a couple weeks ago, and it's all I've been jerking off to, and I just wanted to get inside of that thing.
Really?
I just wanted... And so I bought that, and I've been sucking it and fucking it.
How's that going?
It's going good.
Yeah.
It's odd though, because I'm like, I got it actually duct taped underneath my computer desk,
right?
So I can fuck it while I'm watching Lena on the big screen.
I think it has two sides too. Doesn't it have a vagina and a butthole?
And sometimes I just rub my dick on the side of it.
Look at
like I dry hump it.
Oh, favorite sex act, doggy style. Weight 128 pounds.
Dude, it's just like I've been just fucking the shit out of a simulation of your fiance's vagina, dude.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. Easy to use. 1, open. 2, lubricate. 3, enjoy.
That's all I've been doing.
Easy to clean. Rinse, air dry, and then renew.
I haven't been doing that.
So there's a renew cream?
I don't know anything about the renewing.
Oh, is there a bunch of fucking jizz on there? Or is this like lube? What the fuck?
It wasn't meant for you to handle, okay? It wasn't meant to, I just wanted to show you my football and my book.
There's a shower mount.
I brought a pine cone home, too, that I was going to show you, but,
I would rather fuck a pine cone than get your fucking jizz on my hand again. God damn it.
Well, you shouldn't have picked it up.
I'll put it in my hair.
We would have been better.
My hair will be
That actually looks pretty nice. Yeah, I've heard jizz. I mean, at least according to There's Something About Mary.
You bought like a bottle of lube and just put some on the box so that I would get it on my hand?
No, dude. I'm not. You know what? I'm not going to answer any more questions.
Sleeve warmer. Warms your Fleshlight sleeve in less than 5 minutes to enhance the fantasy.
So let's actually talk about this. The actual story is my girlfriend saw this at a sex shop and sent me a picture of it, and I immediately said, buy this. I'm bringing it into the podcast. Did Lena seriously get her pussy sculpted, or is it bullshit?
Yes, she did.
She did?
Yeah. She went to Austin, Texas with Johnny Sins and his wife, Kissa Sins, and they all got molded. Their genitalia all got molded over the course of a weekend.
How much variety is there really when it comes to female vaginas on the inside?
Listen. I don't mean to shit on her product or anything, but that's what I've been wondering this whole time that this has been out. And whenever anybody's like, oh, like, are you upset at the idea of like guys being able to bang this mold of your wife's vagina? I'm like, what characteristics of my girl's vagina are going to be able to be represented through a rubber mold of her vagina?
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like the intangible things that make a vagina special, that make woman A feel different than woman B, are probably not going to really be. Now, maybe they are to some extent, because I still have not really banged one.
One of these?
Yeah.
I think that'll be the ultimate testament to the quality of these products, is if you fuck it and you can't tell the difference, run out there and start buying these.
Well, this thing right here, the shower mount and the sleeve warmer. I think if we were to utilize both of those, also the flesh wash.
The shower mount and the sleeve warmer? So maybe I should have actually fucked this. That's lotion. I just went into the bathroom and just poured lotion all over it.
Yeah.
But maybe I should.
I knew it wasn't cum. Flesh wash. Our antibacterial spray will safely clean your Fleshlight plus all other toys. You think girls are getting turned off when they walk in the house and a guy's got a series of different Fleshlights all lined up with the day of the week on them?
Yeah, that guy's in trouble. And, my girlfriend and I were talking about this weekend.
Women are fucked.
My girlfriend was asking me what kind of guys actually hook up with transgender chicks.
Gay dudes.
This is my theory. You think gay dudes?
Well, guys who got something twisted upstairs, yeah.
Yeah. My theory was, though, what I explained to her is that there are a lot of transgender chicks, because I was a bouncer. I was sober as a bluebird hanging out in these bars, and you can spot who is really a woman and who was formerly a man.
So everyone else is drunk, and you're sober, sort of able to pick up on these things.
I got it.
Right.
My transdar.
Yeah.
My transdar, as I always called it.
Copyright that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I would start seeing around the 11 p.m. midnight hour of the nightclub time, I would start seeing straight guys start sauntering up to these women a little bit sheepishly. I think they knew. In fact, I'm quite sure they knew. But buying them drinks, hitting on them, and around 12:15, 12:30, leaving the bar or club with the transgender
So
ladies.
before it closes, because it closes at like 1:30, 1:45, like leading up to 2, right?
You got to get them out of there.
You skate out of there at 12:30. Not that many people are going to see you.
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons, too. But then also, I mean, if you leave when the bar actually closes, the chick might sober up when the lights turn on in the establishment and be like, I can't go home with this jack off.
Right. No, that's one thing that I've learned in like the last year or two of my life, because there's a trans person that I know within a social circle that I sometimes inhabit. And I hear through the grapevine that like numerous acquaintances, I guess you might say, of mine have dipped their toe into the trans pond. Ooh. Now, these are guys who I never would have known that was something that they were down for. And it's kind of like a rumor. I feel like people don't want to talk about it that much. But I'm hearing about it and I'm realizing like maybe I'm old school. Maybe I'm just painfully cis. But it would appear that a lot more people are into this than I previously knew.
Here's my theory. I'm going to give you the theory, and we're going to be able to validate it right now based on the guys who dipped their toes into the trans pool. Women think that when it comes to dating, the guys who were on a 1 through 10 scale, the 10s pair off with the 10 chicks, the 9s pair off with the 9 chicks, the 7s pair off with the 7s, the 6s, and on down. What they don't realize is that guys, and I'm taking into account everything, profession, social skills, social status, looks, that's what makes up your mate value. Guys who are 7s through 10s, they don't pair off, they fuck all the chicks. And guys who are 6s and down get 0. That's generally how it works. Or if you're like a dude and you're a 4, maybe you can unleash a legendary courtship campaign and end up marrying a chick who works at a Burger King.
Right.
You got to really try for it.
This is my thing I've noticed about this trans situation that I'm referring to here. The guys who I believe have dipped their toe in the pond, high value men.
That's throwing a wrench in my theory.
It's not like there are like losers who are just taking what they can get. It seems like, no, they're like, these are guys who probably could get all kinds of different pussy if they wanted to, and this is how they're choosing to get down.
You completely fucked up my theory.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because
I that's just my observation about this one specific case.
So, because my theory was that a dude who's a 6 and can't get the chicks in the clubs who are 9s and 10s, well, he can probably get a transgender chick with a stupendous set of fake tits
but the thing
and
is,
a big
too,
fake ass.
In rap,
and that's good.
In rap, the rappers I know who are like heavily accused of, even accused is kind of a weird word, but it's like sort of known throughout the world that they may or may not be able to get down with a trans person. These are dudes who are capable of getting lots of chicks, like high value men. I don't think it's like, they're digging, because that's how it would have been for me. If I was drunk as fuck in the bar, I might bring home a trans person just out of sheer desperation. I feel like this is different.
In your BMX days, maybe.
Yeah.
I think especially.
Yeah.
Maybe it's this. Maybe I'm so off target. Maybe the guys who get all the pussy in the world get bored.
I think so.
And then they just want to have sex with like a hermaphrodite thingy that can fuck them up the ass with a D cup.
Most guys go their whole life just trying to get some ass. And then at some point, they get rich and successful enough that they're like, oh, I've kind of done it all. That's why all these Illuminati dudes are fucking 4-year-olds and shit, bro.
That's what Jeffrey Epstein's island was all about.
Jeffrey Epstein, there's
Took me a lot of tries to say his
yeah,
name
there's
there.
no way that he would have ended up quite where he ended up. He would have been like a very like small time molester, don't you think?
Yeah.
His success was what allowed him to sort of do all these bizarre things and take it to such a prolific level.
And his success was based on the fact that powerful men who have had it all, Bill Clinton, that other guy, they want to go to the island and they want to get jerked off by a 16-year-old because nothing else gets them hard anymore.
For the record, since I do speak on behalf of the Clinton Foundation, no evidence that Bill Clinton dabbled in the underage vagina streets.
It's true. There were, some logs on the airship Lolita that said he was aboard quite a bit.
Oh, they had logs.
Maybe a suspicious amount of times.
Really?
Yeah.
No, but I think he was just, post up on the beach, kick your feet back, put your arms behind your head, spray some tanning lotion all over yourself. Not getting any oral sex from any underage girls. Not me, Bill Clinton. No siree.
So, Adam, you're going on the record right now saying that William Clinton was at Epstein's Island for the jet skiing.
Maybe just the sun.
Not the jet skiing.
I heard they had a great buffet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Crab, ahi tuna, caught fresh.
Toddler cock.
He's gay now?
No, he's not gay.
He's gay?
I forgot it's like a heterosexual island from what I know.
It's very heterosexual.
Hey, it's funny that you just said the logs because you know whose podcast I started listening to is Shane Gillis.
He's the man, dude.
Hilarious
I back
guy.
Shane. He responded
Yeah.
to me when I DM'd him on Instagram too, so I got a soft spot for him.
So he was on Legion of Skanks with me when I was in New York. Which, by the way, if you ever want to do a
Great
New York
podcast.
comedy run,
Great podcast.
go on some people's podcasts out in New York. Maybe we could do that sometime.
Yeah, Ryan Long's out there. He's in the scene.
It's about to be
Buddy of
a
ours.
beautiful time. Yes, Ryan Long. About to be a beautiful time out in New York. It's going to be incredible winter for the next few months.
The leaves are a-changing, Adam.
They are. But, okay, so we did Legion of Skanks together, and I was kind of conceiving of him as like, oh, right, this guy is a comedian. I've heard of him. I don't remember anything specifically about him. I forgot that he was like the guy that got canceled from Saturday Night Live because he maliciously hates Asian people, apparently.
Of course.
Or like he used the word chink one time on a podcast, so I guess he's a hate monger.
And then somebody on the pod, it's not even clear if they were a cast member. They might have been a writer.
Right.
I have proof that like a straight up communist who I used to follow on Instagram writes for Saturday Night Live now. They are so woke and such pussies. One of them canceled him for saying that.
Right. It's amazing that Asian people went from like literally inventing karate, the most badass thing in the world,
And fireworks and gunpowder.
a lot of stuff, right?
War
And-
stuff.
But they went from that to like Shane Gillis needs to be removed from Saturday Night Live.
Absolutely.
The karate, I guess, wasn't enough.
Let's be clear, though, that I don't think Asians as a whole are very woke people.
I would agree. I think Asians as a whole, if you were to ask them like what is woke, they would not know what you were talking about. You ever go to China? These motherfuckers are not reading Twitter.
I'm afraid to go to
Well,
China.
I think it's banned in China.
Dude,
but
I would not. I've talked too much shit about China on the internet to go there.
yeah, I probably should also not go there.
We probably shouldn't.
But
dude,
I've been there multiple times, and these people are not. They're not woke,
Oh, they hate it, dude.
from what I could tell.
Well, Asians, first of all, my girlfriend works at a sushi restaurant. The most racist person, from what I've heard, who exists on the planet is her head sushi chef.
Really?
This guy, somebody walked in once, I think it was during the month of June, and said, "Hi, do you have rainbow rolls on the menu?" Her chef responds, "Oh, we have no rolls for homosexual here." Which, first of all, fucking legend.
That's great. Yeah.
Fucking legend for a guy to make that joke at his own restaurant in 2022.
Right.
But also, he doesn't let Chinese people sit at the bar. He's Japanese, and he's so racist against all the sub races in Asia
Right.
that the Chinese, the Vietnamese, probably people from Laos, No.
Right.
No service.
Isn't that insane that every fucking culture is racist against each other, but then somehow white people take the brunt of the blame because they were just the best at being racist, apparently?
And I think now, Adam, I think white people are probably the least racist people because we've gotten so much shit for being racist that like every day when I wake up, I do 15 minutes of like PC conditioning. Like black people don't steal. Jews don't have all the money. Let's get through the day, Danny. Come on, let's be a good guy.
So I've sworn to not like make this whole podcast about me talking about being in New York, right? But we did have one situation in which that dynamic was abundantly clear to me. We're in Boston. We're backstage at the show. Josh's brother shows up. Now, Josh, am I allowed to talk about this?
Oh, we're talking about it, Josh.
Josh's brothers are like him, pasty-skinned Jewish New Englandites, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not the types that you would expect to maybe be dating someone of the ebony persuasion.
Oh,
no. But so we're backstage at the show, and one of his brothers walks in with a young black lady on his arm that apparently he's getting married to. So shout out to them. Literally, this is what happened in my brain as I took a look at them. I thought, he's dating a black girl. Don't say anything. Don't make it weird. Yes, it's out of the ordinary, but don't say something. You're white. You don't want to make it weird. I turn my head 20 degrees. I see AD. And AD is just like, woo! He got one of us. Let's go. He's jumping out of his chair. He couldn't believe it. And I'm like, this is the subtle racism that we now live with. Go. AD's allowed to say whatever the fuck he wants.
Yes.
I'm over here living in a prison of doubt and shame.
You can't say anything about it. You can't say anything.
And I'm okay with that because realistically, if that's all I have to give up to live in this modern multicultural world, I guess that's okay, right?
Yeah. I mean, life's going pretty good for you, buddy.
Yeah, it's going okay.
And also, I mean, your organization is so self-sustaining now that when you were in New York, me and the boys held down the fort here.
You did, yeah. On Tuesday, you came in.
We came in on Tuesday. We fucking held down the fort.
It was so tight seeing you and Lush sitting side by side, two very, very different whites.
Lush, he got like jumped into a Hispanic gang in prison. I thought he was Jewish or something. He is Jewish. He has a Jewish last name, right? Yeah. I didn't know what the fuck he was. I just knew I didn't like him. No, I'm kidding. Lush is cool, but. I had a great show with T-Rel and stuff.
Yeah.
That was sweet. Flacco is always great. Yeah. But, dude, I mean, we held it down, dude. The office, free reign of this place.
Yeah, that was good.
I went in your office.
I noticed the lights were on, so I was wondering when exactly that kicked in, yeah.
I banged the Lena the Plug Fleshlight, sat in your chair, and just went, oh, yeah, I'm fucking
smeared some lotion on the box.
I got a big dick.
I got stuff I could tell you about the whole Fleshlight thing. I got to remember to tell you off camera.
Well, spell me. My first experience... Off camera?
I got to tell you off camera.
Why do you got to tell me off camera?
Because there's secrets in this business.
Dude, the first Fleshlight I fucked was my first roommates when I was 18.
Really?
And I moved in with this guy who was like 31 years old.
Right.
I had two older roommates. The first night I lived there, one of the dudes pulled me into an orgy with two chicks. 18 years old, fresh-faced little kid.
Amazing. Having an orgy with someone that you barely even know just because you happen to be roommates, that's cool.
Icebreaker.
Yeah.
Can you say icebreaker?
Can you say, I'm never paying my rent. Mm-hmm. I've got dirt on you.
That was a different time, though, Adam.
That's true.
That you could not blackmail people with sex stuff in 2008.
Right.
Which is when this was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to. Thankfully, he had an average-sized cock because I was really insecure about it as a little 18-year-old man.
You were worried about your cock at that time.
Yeah. And if he pulled out a hammer, I would have been, if he pulled out, say, we're going to get to this later, an Antonio Brown-sized cock,
right,
that would have been an issue.
That would have been an issue.
But I was able to, rub my little wiener.
The only reason why I mentioned Shane Gillis earlier, by the way, and this is like a really rich tapestry of a podcast with so many different things going on.
I like what we're doing. It's art.
Shane Gillis, I just heard him, he was talking to his friend, having a conversation, his co-host, whose name I'm forgetting, but I'm apparently going to get both of them on No Jumper. Who knows? Maybe on Sledgelords as well.
I would love to have Shane.
That would be great. But he's talking to his boy about the consistency of their shit and about how you could eat the same thing every day. I was having this conversation with somebody. I forget if it was on air or not. You could eat the same thing every day, and the texture of your shit is like a fucking roulette wheel, whereas sometimes you're going to end up with a log, and sometimes you're going to end up with dye, which is short for diarrhea. And I just like the log versus dye conversation because
log dye.
Every day when I wake up, I might wake up and take a solid shit, go get my workout in, come back in, and just spit out the craziest couple of grams worth of diarrhea. Like, I have no idea why my stomach does the things it does.
So I refute that because my shit is consistent as, I don't know, the sun rising in the morning in the east.
Really?
I think you must be turning in, because my diet is always the same. I go to Trader Joe's, I buy the same 3 pre-made salads plus the same apples and peanut butter, eat it, my shit comes out at 10:30 a.m. every morning. It always looks the same.
That's what you eat every day?
Dude, I got high for the first time and went shopping a couple months ago.
Okay. And you bought enough salad mix that it's still lasting you to this day?
No, that's not where I was going. Where I was going is I've been going to the same Trader Joe's since I moved back to LA. I went to college in LA, moved away, came back in 2018, been here for 4.5 years. Been going to the same Trader Joe's, been buying the same lemon spinach arugula salad and Cobb salad pre-made, plus ground beef, vegetables, Granny Smith apples, and organic crunchy peanut butter every time I go.
This is exactly what I need to be eating.
It's
Would
healthy
you be
stuff.
fat if you weren't doing these things?
Perhaps.
So this is the reason why, because I always thought you were just skinny. Now I'm realizing you're skinny because you are forcing yourself to eat this extremely strict diet because you're a prima donna.
Listen, dude, it has nothing to do with my ego or my desires in show business. So you're going to have to retract that statement. My grandfather, I was just telling some of the guys, because when I walk in here, it's a big deal. The guys are like, oh, Danny Mullen. They're just grabbing and touching, and I'm like, hands off. One of the guys grabbed my jersey and said, what's this? Why did you wear this today?
Right.
And I said, hey, listen, this on the back, it says Mullen. I got it custom made for a video because my grandfather played for the Green Bay Packers in 1963.
Really?
Offensive lineman, built like a grizzly bear.
Wow.
But look at these little legs.
No, you can't
I'm
play
like
football.
Pinocchio.
Yeah.
I would get. We're going to get into the
bulk
football
up.
stuff earlier.
We should do that momentarily. But also, wait, what were you saying?
I was just saying that I went into this Trader Joe's high and I realized they must think, because I'm getting the same people bagging my groceries every time, or it turns over a couple times a week, but I go in there twice a week, so I'm seeing a lot of repeat business. They must think, A, I can't cook, and B, I'm a psycho, because it's always the same things that, like, again, it's pre-made salads, the same quantity every single time.
Right.
And I don't even remember what point I'm trying to make.
No, but I like those pre-made salads from Trader Joe's.
They're delicious. They're a healthy
I like
option.
consistency. Like, I don't want to wear the same thing every day because I'm on camera. That seems like it would be kind of boring. It would be more of a thing for me to wear the same shit. Like if I just bought 30 plain black tees or plain.
You matched today, by the way. You look good.
Yeah, I did that on purpose. But anyway, I do that. I would like to do that. Like when I hear about like Mark Zuckerberg wearing the same outfit every day, I'm like, oh yeah, that really appeals to me. Take the time and the thought out of it. But when it comes to food, I genuinely feel like if I eat exactly the same thing every day, that's probably best case scenario for my mind. Yes, you go to a restaurant from time to time, you get some other shit. But for the meals that I'm eating consistently, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything in life by just eating a very strict Spartan diet.
But that's why you get logs and die, dude. You're getting logs and die because there's too much variety.
No, but I eat very strict at this point in my life. I've been eating, I eat the same thing every day. I eat 4 eggs and bacon in the morning. Yeah. And then I eat like either a salad. I'll order Postmates. I'll either get 2 salads or I'll get 2 like protein and like, vegetable side type meals. I order from basically like Erewhon, Mendocino Farms.
Quality stuff.
Sweet Green.
High-end restaurants.
Goop, the Gwyneth Paltrow.
That one doesn't sound as good.
You haven't seen it? Goop.
I want nothing to do with Goop.
Their food is guaranteed to have almost no poop in it, despite the name. But Goop it's a company owned by Gwyneth Paltrow, right? It's like a mail order fucking, you can get all your like stupid bullshit like that women like, And at one point they actually got in trouble, well, not in trouble, like social media canceled because they had a vagina scented candle. Right. So you have to put all of that outside of your head when you're going to have to accept that it's also one of the better places to order salads on Postmates.
A vagina-scented candle. I'm confused. They send women's hygiene products out? You said things women need. It's the tampons.
It's a candle.
Vibrators?
It's not a woman-scented. It's not woman, or it's not like a sexual product. It's just a candle that apparently has some sort of scent that is adjacent to a vagina. But that's not, I think the majority of their stuff is like health type stuff, I don't know.
Josh, can you take a note to get one of these pussy-scented candles in for the next episode of Sledgelords?
I'm gonna be real.
I would love to smell that.
That is a great idea, but I don't think that they have them anymore. Also, it sounds so gross.
Yeah, because a good-smelling pussy doesn't smell.
Doesn't smell like much. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been holding this in for weeks, maybe months. I did a scene with a girl the other day.
Oh, no.
Let's say like a couple months ago, just to make it real.
We're going to make it very broad time span.
Very broad,
here.
bro. Her vagina had a straight infection in it. Oh. Let me tell you something. Sharing good sex with your lover is cool. Like it feels good to like bang a chick with your girl and have like a really good sexual experience and everything. I would say it has maybe even brought us closer together to have smelled this disgusting pussy together.
Wow.
Mind blowing.
It's like, when two guys get shipped off to Iraq to fight a war together, maybe if they didn't like each other in basic, they become best friends.
Yeah.
But instead of their tank rolling over an IED together, you and Lena, it probably looked like an IED went off in this bitch's pussy.
Probably 20 times in the past month, I've texted her and I've said, holy shit, can you remember so-and-so's pussy?
What was wrong with it?
Oh, I'm pretty sure she had a straight up like, what's it called? Vaginal vaginosis or some shit.
Vaginitis, I'm pretty sure, is a technical term.
There was something growing in there, bruh.
Like a plant? A fungus?
A fern.
That sounds kind of nice, actually.
Yeah.
That's better than a mushroom.
Well, I mean, if you'll put plants in the house, although I think that one's fake, why not put a plant in a vagina?
Yeah, absolutely.
Spruce it up.
Yeah, it didn't go green.
Play this clip for me.
The Antonio Brown?
Yeah.
Can we talk
do you want to intro it in a certain way?
Yeah, I mean, on Sunday morning, I was trying to enjoy my vacation. It was me, my girlfriend, my dad, just throwing the football on the beach. I saw come across my Twitter feed, though, that Antonio Brown was in Dubai or Abu Dhabi getting up to mischief again.
Right.
And I know you probably don't follow the NFL. I guess me and Josh are the only people in the building who do.
Never watched the game. Don't even know how to play the game.
You're not an athletic person like myself and Josh are. It's okay.
I choose to utilize my athletic talents in other ways.
In much better ways than playing football.
So basically, it's like 30 dudes just standing there, and one of the guys throws the ball backwards between his legs, and then another guy has it, and he has to look out at all the dudes and like pick out one of them to throw it to. And then that dude is gonna run down the field and like get tackled by a million motherfuckers. He has to sort of skedaddle all around them.
Yep.
I don't understand.
Listen, Adam, you don't know pleasure until you're playing QB and you walk up behind a 300-pound fat man who's bent over like he's ready to take it in the ass.
Right.
You put your thumbs up on either side of his nutsack between those sinewy, big, thick thighs, and you say, "Hike," and he gives you a ball. And you slide that ball across his gooch and bring it back.
Why hike?
And then throw it at a black guy.
What a stupid word.
Hike!
Yeah.
It's almost a slur. Hike! It's close.
No.
To the Jewish one.
No, that one's fine. But no, hike?
Hike.
Like literally like going around and walking in the woods?
Hike!
What does that have to do with this fucking stupid game?
I didn't think of that. Yeah, it could be anything else.
Well, where did
Bike
it come
ride!
from? Yeah. It could be
Parasailing!
anything. Yeah. Jogging!
Outdoor activities.
It's just, why?
I think they say it because it pierces the crowd noise. It's this like K consonant. Antonio Brown, though, since last year, he stormed off the field during a Buccaneers versus Jets game.
Right.
He ripped off his shirt, threw up the deuces, and quit the team in the middle of the game. Now, that came after he'd been accused of, I think, whipping his cock out on an athletic trainer. He showed up to Raiders practice in a hot air balloon, that's badass. I mean, that's like 18th century nobility status.
Okay.
Like just showing up to a practice and, This, though, what he did this weekend, and can we pull up the clip, Josh? Just the image, really. We don't need the video.
Of him jerking off?
It's the most consummate, I'm jerking the fuck off right now pose that I've ever seen.
Like the New York Post image that I saw or whatever from their Twitter account. It looks
that
like
one.
It looks like he's stretching his dick out and that his dick is maybe like 14 inches long.
It's unbelievable. Let's keep going down, Josh. I want that. There it is.
Jesus.
That pose just, I'm a black guy with a foot long minimum cock, and I'm going to pleasure myself right now. and everybody on this pool deck has to deal with it.
But he's saying that this is incorrect framing. He's saying that basically, like, he didn't expose himself to the woman, that this woman is like somebody that he was with, that he was having a good time with, right? Now, I think you're still going to get kicked out of the hotel for exposing your gigantic dick in the pool, but
if he was white and it was 6 inches, you think he would have been allowed to stay?
Probably not. No,
I think so.
I think realistically, probably not. I mean,
they're pretty racist.
I feel like
in Dubai.
showing, yeah, but you don't really need to be racist to like get kicked out of a hotel for like showing your dick.
It's that's a highly
look at
visible
what a
dick.
great time. Let me read his response here. Josh, scroll down. Every chance they get to sway the heat off themselves, they use me. In the video, you can clearly see she runs off with my swim trunks. If roles were reversed, the headlines would read, AB having a wild night with a nude female. Yet when it's me, it's automatically become a hate crime. It's crazy to me that even after I retire, there's disinformation coming out about me. Ironically, during a time when the NFL is getting heat for allowing players to play when they're clearly concussed, they've been using black men as guinea pigs. I'm sorry, I'm not really buying it. I feel like she seemed like she was a consensual participant in this crazy dick slang. And now let's be clear, probably not supposed to pull your dick out in the pool, at a public pool. In
Dubai, a very conservative country.
It doesn't seem like any sort of like criminal act was committed by him upon her, right?
You know, dude, when I sent you the news article in the morning, the pose just made me laugh so
It was just long dick, yeah. Because stretching your dick out is a really important technique in public places.
Really?
Yeah, I talked about this on the No Jumper Show at one point, how there was a time where I went skinny dipping with my friends when I was maybe 18, and you know, we're all like we didn't expect that we were going to come upon this swimming hole, so we all just like take our shorts off, we're going to go in, and before I go in, subconsciously I'm yanking my cock, I'm pulling it,
even
stretching
though it's all dudes.
Yes, and
status
and
hierarchy.
one of my friends, like, he's conscious of what I'm doing, he looks at me, he goes, why are you stretching your dick out? And I realize I'm stretching my dick out because I want my dick to look long when we're all going swimming together. So even at that time, I was sort of, you know, worried about how people were going to think of my cock. And it was kind of awkward to realize that this is something that I actually was doing. I couldn't deny it. My dick was in hand. I was stretching it out. That's what it looks like he's doing in that blurred screenshot.
And I remember a funny story that there was a time when I was hanging out with Danny Duncan. And this, I don't know why I'm telling the story right now.
Right.
But we were talking about dicks, and for some reason, he just hired me on to help him do videos. It was really early in my YouTube career. I was like thinking about doing something with him, and he was talking about cocks, and I wanted to show him my cock all of a sudden. I had this like overwhelming urge to show Danny Duncan my cock, so he knew I was cool. And
that's how I feel every time I'm with you.
And I've seen your cock. I would still actually appreciate it. It'd be a sign of camaraderie if you could just bust it out limp in the studio. But I stretched out my dick. And
that would be good for this podcast in general.
Just flash me.
Just staring at my limp cock.
Danny Duncan said to me, he's like, dude, why are you stretching out your cock right now?
Yeah.
He was like, dude, why are you stretching it out?
So we're like the same dude. We did the same thing, but you did it as a grown man in front of a famous YouTuber.
I did it to Danny Duncan, dude. Also, AB, and again, I don't want to cancel him either. I'm not saying what he did was bad. I'm just amazed by the dick, but more importantly, that pose. I know a girl who he tried to get to snort blow off his dick. And she told me she didn't do it, but she might have. And also, it wasn't
Look how long it is. How could you not snort coke off it?
Dude,
I would.
You would be gacked out.
There's
if you
nothing
did a line of
inherently
coke off
gay.
that
Yeah, there's nothing inherently gay about snorting coke off another dude's dick.
Not at all.
And especially if it's long, because like with your dick, it's like I'm gonna have to be all up in there. My face is gonna be rubbing against your pubic hair.
Absolutely.
With his dick, it's like I might be in a different room.
And then Adam, what's the problem with cocaine? It's expensive. What do you not want to do?
Pay for
No, you don't want to lose even a grain of the stuff.
Right.
So if it's against a black cock, can you say relief?
Right.
Relief in the sense that it really stands out against the skin tone. You're going to be able to keep track of every crystal.
Because I remember one time I was super coked out and I was suggesting to this girl that she do a line of coke off my dick. The problem is that she had been slurping on it, so it was kind of wet. It's like the most basic like thing you don't do with coke is you don't put it on a wet surface. You have to dry the surface off before you put it on there. Because otherwise it's going to turn into this sort of like pasty, moldy goop.
It's going to turn into like an anti-itch cream that you like rub onto the back of your tongue.
I feel like that's like the gayest thing ever.
Anti-itch cream?
Anti-itch cream. Like, just scratch it, you fucking pussy.
Your anti-itch cream?
Yeah, I just don't. Like, for me, if I had an itch, I'm just gonna let it rock until whatever is causing the itch goes away.
This is a very laissez-faire attitude, but sometimes, Adam, it can really make the problem worse when you're constantly picking at it. For instance, right now, I had a ringworm recently from jiu-jitsu.
Oh my God, I've had it. It sucks.
I had a ringworm, and scratching at it wasn't the problem. In fact, I did scratch at it, and it scabbed up, and I made it last probably an extra week from doing that. Had I got some anti-itch cream, I would have been good to go. Josh, let's pull up, because I did want to show Adam, the man who doesn't understand the pleasures of hiking a ball out of a 300-pound man's groin. I want to show him the hit that turned Antonio Brown into this cock-stroking menace that he is today.
Wow. Yeah. Play this. I want to see the CTE.
Because you don't understand, dude.
The concussion.
You don't get it.
So you think he was like a normal guy before this?
Yeah, he was thinking about getting into, I don't know, being a tax professional before this.
Oh, did it?
That was his post NFL
That's him
career.
in the yellow?
Yeah, right here.
Oh, well, that just like ripped his fucking head off his body, huh? Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, because he's getting driven one way by the guy, and then the other dude sort of yanks his neck and his head the other way. Damn, so he had like a gnarly concussion from this?
Beyond gnarly. Life-changing concussion.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think that this game should be illegal.
It probably should.
I don't think it's right to like tell kids that this is a normal thing to do with your life. It's too dangerous. I feel the same way when I see my friends making their little kids like ride their BMX bikes off fucking 15 stairs and shit. And I'm just like, listen, if you become an adult and you decide this is what you want to do with yourself, that's cool. I think as an adult, I personally would not be able to live with myself if I fucking was guiding kids into these extremely dangerous sports, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you put a kid in Pee-wee football, he's going to be not that vicious of a hit, but he's going to be taking hits that are going to be doing not good stuff to his brain when it's developing.
We have a lot of good sports that don't seem to be really that correlated with head injuries. I mean, basketball, people love it.
But
you're not really whacking your head against people. It's just not part of it. You don't have to wear this crazy stormtrooper suit with a giant fucking helmet and pads in your arms and whatnot, you know?
People like basketball, Adam, but the viewership of the NBA has dropped off dramatically recently.
Really?
And football has just been going up and up and up and up and up and up and up.
Well, I understand that people want to see concussions.
They do.
They want to see people get hurt. Yeah.
I mean, dude, this is the sport. It's maybe the one sport, this and UFC, where I could never even, like, I could get out there with LeBron and try to shoot a layup.
Right.
He swats the ball away, who cares? I can still go try. I would not set foot on a football field ever.
Oh, hell no.
Even a college or a high school football field, because it scares me.
Right.
And therefore I can't look away. Yeah. And the byproduct is we have a dude named Antonio rubbing his cock in the desert. Yeah. But it's something we got to deal with as a society, I feel.
Definitely. Something else that I would really like to deal with as a society is, what are your thoughts on Lena Dunham?
Lena Dunham. Can you pull up a picture of Lena Dunham?
She's the chick from Girls. You know,
never watched Girls. Let me see this chick.
She's not much to look at. Let's
thank you. Thank you, by the way, Josh. Whoever wheeled this TV in here is a hero.
Yeah, this is helpful.
What's Lena Dunham been up to, Adam?
Well, go to that second photo right there. Man, she looks like shit. She got fat as fuck.
So did her guy's not looking great either.
Her guy looks like he got ran over by Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown busting a nut on his face. No, shout out to her, though. I mean, she got fat as fuck, but I guess she's probably happy with it. She tweeted it out, I think, yesterday. When I go, I want my casket to be driven through the New York City Pride Parade with a plaque that reads, "She wasn't for everyone, but she was for us. Who can arrange?" She is being, I would say, you know, it's rare when you bust out a tweet that manages to get people on both sides to come at you. So you've got the gay community that's basically saying like, hey, we don't need you to be our fucking superhero.
She's not gay, right?
No.
Straight chick.
I believe
that's
she's
her man.
straight. I mean, she might be a little gay, but she's basically straight, as far as I know.
Sort of like you and I.
She might, yeah, a little tinge of bisexuality, yeah, but as far as I know. But think about this. When I go, I want my casket to be driven through the New York City Pride Parade with a plaque that read, "She wasn't for everyone, but she was for us." Lena Dunham, what would make you think that the gays who have spent their lives orchestrating this parade, I would assume it's a pretty involved ordeal, why would you want your casket to be driven through the Pride Parade just because you were what, like a decent ally?
Yeah.
Just because you didn't commit any homophobic acts. You never Matthew Sheparded out on someone. Like, I mean, that doesn't seem like enough.
You know, Adam, when I die, I want to be buried next to the good doctor, Martin Luther King Jr., who said his fight wasn't as well known as the good doctors, but Danny Mullen's contribution was just as strong.
Right.
I'm a black social justice warrior, and I want to be treated correctly when I die.
When I die, I would like the local Black Lives Matter office to really be excavated so that they can make space for my tomb to exist under the floorboards.
Like a mausoleum.
I believe that as a good ally, that this is the kind of thing that they should invite.
Yeah, absolutely. And there should be some sort of like ritual of respect paid to you at 9 a.m. every morning before they get started working.
Definitely. Yeah, of course. That is how important me being a good ally seems to be to me in terms of my contribution. But anyway, the reason why the right is pissed off at her about this is because, I mean, even the conservatives can see how tone deaf this is. They're offended on behalf of the gay community.
Yes.
And then also the gay community almost in its entirety, because I don't believe that the gay community had that much love for Lena Dunham in the first place.
I didn't even know who the fuck she is.
Honestly, that show Girls that I'm telling you about, and look at that photo. Scroll down just a smear. You can actually see when look at that picture right there, the third one. That's like more of what she looked like when I was observing her TV show. Because this show, Girls, I would like to actually know what you thought of it if you watched a few episodes of it. It was basically like a comedy created to tell the life story of the average white hipster woman in New York City, which means almost no black people.
Yes.
You seemingly like don't have a job. You just get to hang out in Williamsburg for your entire life. And I thought it was very, very good, despite those critiques that I just threw in there.
Yeah,
I loved it. I'm talking like 2012 or whatever. I watched like 3 seasons of it. Adam Driver got his start from that show.
Adam Driver, the guy in Star Wars who was like the Darth Vader's something.
I heard about that, yeah. But anyway, she's really kind of gone in this like sort of steep nosedive career-wise since then, and she's had a couple of other moments that really stood out. One of them was I think, and I might be fucking up some of the details of this, but she was talking about how she basically like fingered her little sister. It's like she talked about it, I think, in her memoir, and it was basically like her admitting to like molesting her younger sister.
But because she's a chick, nobody cares.
Well, but I would say people did care, and people kind of wanted to call her out for the hypocrisy of that and her feeling so comfortable admitting it. And then the other thing was that she had a quote where she said that she was almost ashamed that she had never had an abortion because she was not able to have expressed that, that's the ultimate act of womanhood, is killing your child.
Not having the baby and raising it to maturity. So is this sort of the Jussie Smollett school of becoming relevant again?
I'm not sure that she is like actually falsely reported a hate crime, but I would say that her existence is probably worse
than a hate crime.
Yeah, all the hate crimes combined, really. But I mean,
you get what I'm saying, though. You make yourself relevant after a career nosedive by doing woke stuff.
But she has no idea. Like, she says woke shit all the time, from what I could tell. Yeah. I can't follow her on Twitter because she has actually blocked me, which I can explain here. But
you said her existence is worse than a hate crime. No explaining necessary. I can see why she wouldn't like that.
She should block Sledgelords as well, because I think that the Sledgelords Twitter, we should only follow her.
I love it.
And not even us.
Yeah, we'll direct people to her.
But how long do you think it'll take before she blocks Sledgelords?
How big is the Sledgelords Twitter presence right now?
I'm going to assume it's like 50 to 60 followers.
I think those 50 to 60 followers can make a lot of noise.
Let's find out. Yeah, but we are not encouraging them to harass her.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. I got no problem with Mrs. Dunham. I, again, think it was a little tone deaf. Also,
61 followers. That was a pretty good guess.
Is there any content on there? I noticed our Instagram Sledgelords has no images yet.
No, nothing.
Well, guys, stay tuned. The first one's going to be Adam's limp cock.
I'm planning on creating a more, like, we need timestamps and we need clips. Like, I need to be able to actually, I think we might have some clips from this episode. A lot of our other episodes, realistically, not a lot of clips.
Who's to say that, though?
Well, I look through the timestamps and I don't really see anything that stands out to me as a clip.
I got a nose for clips, dude. I can take care of this.
For sure, yeah. I mean, if I had a timestamp guy, I wasn't really, I don't know. The timestamps have to be pretty in-depth.
You don't have to explain anything to me, dude. Whatever. It's okay. We can get general. This show, we changed topics a lot, too. And while we're on the subject...
Wait, can I just tell you why she banned me?
Tell me about why Lena banned you.
She blocked me on Twitter because back in the day, we're talking like 2013, when I was still watching her show, she banned me because she tweeted something about smoking weed, and I quote tweeted her, and I wrote, you are so lame that if you start smoking weed, smoking weed is going to become lame too. Please don't ruin it for all of us. I think I kind of earned my block because that is pretty cruel.
That's very strange behavior, given you just told me you liked her show.
Yeah, but just her Twitter personality. It's like there's something that happens between you updating your Twitter and then your ideas being shaped into a TV show where a lot of like the cringiness of your personality can kind of be removed in the process of the show being whittled down. There's a lot of different writers, there's actors, there's all these producers, etc. They kind of like make the show better.
Sure.
Whereas if she had been the sole person involved, like Euphoria is all like one dude writing everything, I think that the show would have sucked.
It's like my videos. When I go out and shoot a vlog for the Danny Mullen channel, the raw vlog would be pretty rough.
Right.
A lot of misfires on the jokes, a lot of jokes where I say something straight up racist or homophobic. We got to go snip, snip, snip
make it all picture perfect. I could tell that you'll bust a joke out and like it would make sense to include the response of the person, but instead it just ends right after the joke. And I'm like, he probably got like a...
How do you live with yourself? You're disgusting.
Not even that, just, what? You know? Like you say something funny and they're like... What? Like they just genuinely don't understand what you're saying. It's like that would kill the humor of the joke, right?
If you're saying I'm enhancing my comedy by getting rid of the response from the audience.
I think it's fair to do so.
I do so anyway. A lot.
Of course.
I do so a lot. Yeah. Lena Dunham. That's interesting that you admired her show, didn't like her Twitter personality, blocked her.
She blocked me.
Excuse me. While we're on the subject of pride, I know we wanted to talk about the movie Bros, which my dad texted me this morning on my way here. I just landed, just got in from Tahoe. I'm driving. I get a text from my dad that Billy Eichner from the new romantic comedy movie Bros,
right,
a gay-centric romantic comedy, groundbreaking. And I got nothing against Billy Eichner. His show Billy on the Street was funny, but I guess he's going off on supposed homophobes.
Weirdos.
And
homophobic weirdos.
That's what he said. In certain parts of the country.
Right.
He didn't call those parts of the country out, but I'm sure we can all guess. Actually, you know what? It sounds like the whole country didn't show up for the opening of that film. They only grossed $4 million.
And this is the amazing thing about it to me, is that I am a person who, in the year 1997 or 2001, back when it was still kind of a thing to go to the movies, I went to the movies.
Yeah, me too.
Girl would say, hey, you want to go to the movies? Couple of friends, hey, Friday night, let's go to the movies. I would go to the movies. I wasn't like some huge movie guy, but I would go to the movies. It was a normal part of our culture. Yeah. Over the course of the past 20 years, pretty much, you've seen that completely dissipate to the point where now, if you were to say to me, hey, Adam, would you like to go to the movies with me and my girl and your girl? Would you? Sure, I guess, but only because it seems like such a quaint notion.
Yeah.
It's so out of the ordinary. Yeah. It would stand out to me so much. It would be like you asking me to go berry picking with you. You know, it's such an old school thing to do. A very small percentage of people are still down to go to the movies. And when you look at what movies get made, there's this assumption of like, oh, yes, they'll make 10 Spider-Man movies. They'll make 10 Batman movies. They'll make movies about, you know, famous sports figures and shit like that, or like extremely polarizing or like important cultural issues. You know, you make a movie about fucking 9/11. Like it's like 20 years ago, but they made a movie about Facebook. You know, that makes sense because this is like a big tent experience that everybody in the culture is sort of taking part in. And now we're supposed to be surprised that a movie about a sexual orientation that maybe like 5 to 10% of people have was not extremely well received. I'm sorry. Nobody gives a fuck about romantic comedies. And I, as a heterosexual man, I reserve the right to not care about your stupid gay movie. What do you say?
Ooh, hard to follow that up. First of all, when was berry picking a leisure activity?
Well, in New Hampshire, it was probably a little bit more normal than it was out here.
It was bigger than it was in California.
No, it's not even that out of the ordinary here. You can still, you drive to the valley, there's a million fucking berry picking spots.
Dude,
but it's
Berry
like,
Farm? They probably pick berries at Knott's Berry's Farm.
Do they? I thought that was like an amusement park.
Yeah, but it's named after a guy who invented the boysenberry.
But all you have to do, drive up to the valley, there's a million berry picking spots. You do it with your kids, you do it with your girl. It's a stupid thing to do.
Me, you, Lena, Mia?
Yeah.
Your child?
I mean, you could go to Whole Foods.
Not as fun.
Right.
The gay movie, as you put it beautifully. Yeah, it's what you're saying is you can't be surprised that a subculture that about 5% of America is involved in didn't open well. It would be like, and Billy Eichner was getting mad because his little thing didn't appeal to America.
Right.
It would be like if you made a movie about smoking weed, hip hop, and having threesomes with your fiance.
That seems relatively mainstream. Or
You
like
know,
that
that
sounds
actually
like
be a pretty
something that
badass movie.
way more people could get behind. I was thinking of it more like, okay, they've made some skateboarding movies, right?
Yeah, dude, Lords of Dogtown.
But not that many. You know, like, but I'm talking about like real movies. They've made a few movies about skateboarding and stuff. It's happened. It's not something that they consistently do. Why? Because even though skateboarding is really fucking popular, it's really not that popular when you think about like how popular something needs to be for a movie to be made about it. Whereas on the other hand, the fucking the Muhammad Ali movie seems like it was very, very popular.
Yes.
Like probably the most popular boxer of all time, I guess, in one of the biggest sports of all time. It makes sense to me that they would make a movie about Muhammad Ali.
I get it.
And maybe they make a movie about Tony Hawk at some point. I could see it. But like in general,
Yeah.
why are they not going to make a movie about kendama? Because it's tiny. It doesn't appeal to that many people. Why would you assume that your niche sexual preference is going to be the sort of thing that people are going to turn out for in droves?
Let me illustrate a point too.
Yes.
You answer yes or no.
Okay.
Hey, Adam, I'm a pro skater.
Right.
I'm gonna nollie backside big flip El Toro.
Right.
You want to watch?
I do.
Let's try this now. Adam, I'm a gay man. I'm about to bend Josh over the console and fuck his tight little asshole.
He's wearing bondage gear.
You want to watch?
No, not me so much. I mean,
That might be relevant.
I think
that might be relevant.
This movie seems like the evidence that we needed to know that dudes are grossed out by other dudes, fucking dudes, and that women, and I don't know the demographic breakdown of who went to this movie, but I would assume women are not terribly interested in it either. I mean, if you were to make like a lesbian film,
No.
I would assume it would appeal to a very small percentage of people. I mean, how curious are you about the lived experiences of lesbian women?
2 JV women's basketball coaches petting cats and eating pussy? No thanks.
Right.
No thanks. Yeah, you're raising a really good point here. The women too.
They make movies about Spider-Man because everybody who knows who Spider-Man is, everybody's got a little bit of skin in the game. Everybody knows a little bit about what the whole Spider-Man thing is all about.
Yes.
With the gay thing, it's like, okay, we assume that when you have sex with each other that it smells like a urinal.
Or worse,
Not
a
even
toilet
a urinal.
after somebody
a
blew
porta
it up.
potty. I meant to say porta potty.
There we go, a
Fuck,
porta
yeah.
potty. We can change that. We can fix that
Change
later
that
on.
in post.
But that movie too, I did not see it for I don't want to see guys fuck reasons. I am actually like, if 2 guys were just fucking on the street,
Right.
like one of my buddies, cigar guy, the guy who got fingered in the ass by Kazumi.
Even that.
On your-
There was a woman involved, and I was still grossed out by the whole thing.
But he sent me a video once. He was backing out of a parking lot in West Hollywood, and the backup cam on his Tesla captured 2 guys having aggressive anal sex in the parking lot.
Wow.
He showed me that video, and I watched it glued to the screen because that's something out of the ordinary. The reason I didn't go to see Bros is because I, like you were talking about earlier, see going to a movie as something as quaint as going gold mining in them thar hills.
Right.
I didn't even go see the one with Tom Cruise and the fighter planes.
Right.
Top Gun? I couldn't be bothered to go see Top Gun. So yeah, I'm not going to watch a niche romantic comedy movie that from the trailers looked like it wasn't even written very sharply. Can we watch the trailer?
I would love to see the trailer because I did not know that this movie existed. I have not seen the trailer. I didn't hear a peep about it. I don't pay attention to anything in popular culture like this anyway, so I'm not surprised that I didn't know about it.
There was a joke about an old gay guy looking like Dumbledore on steroids, and
See, I don't even know what Dumbledore looks like, so I'm
you
really...
got to be into Harry Potter.
I hate Harry
But it was a
Potter.
shitty joke, and here we go. Let's let people
We're going to
decide
hear
for
this through our
themselves.
headphones, or we take our headphones out? We just watched the trailer.
So nobody else saw that. The audience didn't hear the trailer or see the trailer.
No.
Okay.
They're going to have to go watch it on YouTube if they want. For the record, the last joke in that trailer was, does anyone remember straight people? And then the chick says, yeah, they had a good run.
Yeah.
Guess what, bitch? We still matter because we didn't see your fucking movie, and I bet a lot of gay people didn't see your fucking movie either, and now they're never going to make another gay movie again. And while we're at it, I watched Brokeback Mountain. This was like 20 years ago. I shed a little tear. I actually felt bad for y'all. No longer.
Because of that line.
Because of that bullshit-ass trailer, dude.
Did you see the...
That shit made me angry at all gays.
What about the pedophilia part?
That shit was fucked up too, bro.
That was fucked up. There are two little girls that they hear the adults at the table talk about the bottom dance or doing something bottom related, and two children. I think a man child and a woman. I think it's a boy and a girl.
The first one who says it though is a girl. She goes, "Ooh, bottom dance," and she starts going like this, and then the boy does it too. Now, granted, like if this was real life, you could imagine that there would be like some sort of offensive or sexual term that you would be using in your day-to-day life, and maybe at some point the kid starts repeating it back to you and they think it's funny, whatever. That kind of shit just sort of happens.
Yes.
This is the thing, is that let's say that there was like a plug talk related joke.
Yes.
And my kid for some reason fucking starts repeating something that is like very sexual in nature. She doesn't know what it means. I'm not putting that out there on the internet, and that's real life. They fucking created this joke. I'm sorry, it was a little girl saying it, but then that little boy walks right the fuck up and he starts doing the bottom dance too. They are indoctrinating our children into the cult of gayness.
Of getting fucked in the ass.
I at least want these kids to become tops. Take
Exactly.
control of your life.
Exactly. If I have a son and he's gay, he sure as fuck better be fucking the other guy up the butthole.
I'm telling my kid that. Yeah.
Dude, and they put that joke, especially with all the controversies surrounding that kind of content, like the Cuties movie, like the stuff we've been talking about with Tiffany Haddish.
Right.
To put that, not just in the film,
Haddish.
but in the trailer.
I like how you said it like it was a
Haddish.
fucking Middle Eastern name. Haddish. But no, I agree. I am so and it doesn't help that Lena Dunham's fucking face is still up on the TV because
You're fired up today, dude.
Yeah, I am. But I'm just saying, like the idea that anyone, the idea that movie did poorly should have been the assumption going into it, right?
Yes.
The idea that this fuckhead gets on Twitter and starts ranting and raving about how homophobic. I got
heterophobic's a thing too, though.
This is true. It's much more important.
Most
really.
people who made that film, I bet.
Right, but the idea that we are all homophobic weirdos for not wanting to see what it seems to me to be an obviously stupid idea for a movie. I mean, I'm offended by the idea that he would have anything to say about that.
Yeah, I'm offended by as you've made the point, 10% of the population is in that subcategory. The movie is aggressively directed at that 10%. At most, you'd have to say, what's the box office of a middling Hollywood film that came out this year? Well, we're going to divide that by 10.
Right.
That's what we should be expecting.
Are romantic comedies a cash cow? Like, do they expect them to do very well more often than not?
I think so.
Usually when I see or think about romantic comedies, I picture them sort of picking out like an Angelina Jolie and a fucking Brad Pitt, and I realize I'm dating myself by like 20 years, but like they pick the most popular celebrities to star in these things.
George
Beautiful
Clooney, Julia
people.
Roberts. They just released a film with them in it.
That kind of thing.
We're still going back.
Because
we still have the same
you
stars.
want to like bring people in who are going to attract as many people as possible. By definition, when you do a gay story, you're kind of pushing people away from it. But this is the thing too, is that Brokeback Mountain is a very different time. Brokeback Mountain, that sort of showed us that heterosexual people could be into a movie about gays.
Yeah.
And now that has been done one time, I think it's quite clear that they never need to make another gay movie again. This one failed. Brokeback Mountain did good. Look at box office revenue of romantic comedies in the United States and Canada from 1995 to 2001.
Josh is on shit.
In the shitter. Look how bad 2020 is. It goes to like zero.
So 1999 was the high water mark. I wonder which titles came out in 1999 that did all that business.
But when I think about 1999, I remember like that was definitely prime Rocom era. But just look, even like 2016. Why did it get better in 2018? What happened? I don't know. But
this correlates with, to me, is the era of mobile. When Facebook and Instagram became a thing on your cell phone, that was in 2012, and that's where there's a dramatic drop-off.
Right.
That killed the movie business, it seems.
Yeah.
For straights, gays, romantic comedy, or otherwise.
Yeah, like, because that's the exact time period that I moved from New York to California, and it's kind of weird because I feel like 2010, 2011 is like very much when the culture really began this dramatic shift from sort of a monoculture to the internet running culture. So for me, a lot of times I have impressions of like, oh, this is what California's like. But then it's actually like, no, that's what happened when you left New York, coincidentally. I don't know.
I'm confused.
I left in 2010.
Yeah,
I left from New York to LA, but like I feel like that also just coincidentally happened to be the time period where everything started to change in terms of our culture and in terms of content and stuff like that.
Sure.
And sometimes I forget. Like I go back to New York and I'm like, oh, they have iPhones.
So yeah, you look back at your New York years, and that's when everything's in black and white and simple, and people are picking berries.
Exactly, because when I was still in New York, there was no follower count number to determine how cool you were. It was like, oh, you're some dude with like skinny black jeans and like a leather jacket, and you're like talking about how you've been vegan for 2 weeks. Oh, you seem pretty cool.
You must be the shit.
You must be cool. And I remember even after having been gone from New York for a couple of years in California, and I started to realize like, oh, this is cool. Now we have like, and people talk bad about like using your Instagram follower account as like a score of how much you matter, or your followers on YouTube, whatever. But in some ways, I think it's kind of good, because I remember in New York just meeting people constantly who were the biggest nobodies who would have swore their shit didn't stink just because they had the right fucking outfit.
Sure. So now you're saying that having some social credibility, it's a better meter of how well you're doing in life versus if you're wearing tight jeans with holes ripped in the knees.
Right. Well, there's just like a lot of people who are like, oh, like I was standing around on stage at an MGMT concert, and that's like my entire social capital is based on that. Yeah. Whereas like, yes, it's kind of lame that there's a lot of people out there who have like 100,000 fake followers on Instagram, and they're basically trying to like use that to justify why they should matter.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think I'll still take that metric over everybody just sort of creating their own hype.
Yeah, I mean,
based on how many pins they have in their jacket.
I mean, like 14-year-old girls are cutting their wrists and getting bulimic at a dramatic rate.
And I blame Lena Dunham and gay romantic comedies for that.
There's your answer right there.
I had a question.
Hit me with it.
I think I wrote it down. Oh yeah. I was listening to The Daily today, the New York Times podcast about the news and everything. You know,
New York Times, okay.
New York Times
I'm trying to get my head into their political mindset.
They have a podcast called The Daily that basically like attempts to cover the biggest news story of the day type shit, whatever, big social trends.
Sure.
And they're interviewing a woman, like, because they're trying to wrap their heads around the fact that Latino people, who are like maybe like 20% of voters in a lot of the biggest like states apparently, are overwhelmingly turning towards the right, into Republicans. And maybe not overwhelmingly, but like very significant changes in terms of that swing. They get a woman on the phone who lives in Los Angeles, and she is talking about how she agrees with a lot of Democratic social policies, you know, abortion, gay rights, who knows, but that she still believes that she's going to vote Republican because she's saying that the economy is so bad and it's so hard for her to make ends meet.
Yeah.
Now, peep the details of her financial situation.
We're getting serious right now. I like this.
She makes, and you can listen to this, she makes $250,000 a year.
Oh.
And she wants us to feel bad for her because she lives in Los Angeles, which is one of the most expensive places that you could live, and that she makes $250,000 a year. Now, part of the problem is that her husband is maybe not in such a great financial situation. He's been unemployed for a little while. You want to know what he is?
What is he?
An unemployed professional wrestler.
Like a lucha libre guy?
No, I think like a real wrestler. Maybe he's in the WWE or something.
He's Mexican, so he probably does lucha libre.
We would assume.
You know,
right, but this was just like the most mind-blowing thing ever to me, is that the New York Times wants me to take this person serious when they're talking about why they are pivoting to the right because they are worried about the economy. This fucking idiot can't figure out how to make ends meet off $250,000 a year while supporting her deadbeat pro wrestler. And I apologize if I know this guy, because I do know a few pro wrestlers, and I hope that it's not one of them. But this was just the most mind-blowing thing to me ever. Like, I feel like the New York Times should be choosing people who are somewhat indicative of an average American's life when they're trying to make these narratives work, right?
I don't know why they would choose that lady in particular to interview. And I'm not going to say that she doesn't have a hard time making ends meet, especially if she has a lot of children. And let's face it, the Latinos, they have a lot of babies.
And she said that her rent is $2,500 a month.
So that's $2,500 in LA rent is absurdly cheap, especially if you and your, hey, I got a match coming up today, baby. How does my cape look? If you and that guy are sharing the place, $2,500 is cheap as fuck.
$2,500 is pretty cheap, and $25,000 or $20,000 a month is a shitload. And especially, why am I supposed to feel bad about your unemployed pro wrestler boyfriend? She said that at a certain point, this guy was making $250,000 a year too. So, I mean, the idea that they were making $500,000 a year and that they have anything to complain about is insane. But the idea that this guy can't go drive for fucking Postmates or do construction or something, it's like, get your ass off the fucking couch. Like, shouldn't you be worried about your physique? You need to get some exercise, you piece of shit.
So your issue, at first I was like trying to wrap my head around like, all right, what are we thinking here? Latinos? Are they conservatives? Are they liberals? That's not really your issue. Your issue is how the fuck are you not saving any money when you're making $250,000?
Right, because I feel totally okay with her voting for Trump. I don't give a fuck if you want to vote for Trump or not, just because there's plenty of decent reasons why you might want to swing right.
Yeah.
And I'm not really that interested in that. But the idea that you could be making that much money and that you're not able to thrive in our society when you're easily making double or triple what the average American makes.
So you sussed it out to be about 25 G's a month. We're going to say somewhere around there.
She's at $250,000 a year, so we're going to say $20K a month.
$20K a month. Being in California is ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
We've got the 13%. For her, it would probably be closer to 10% state income tax. We got the, whatever, between 20 and 30 federal income tax.
Right.
They slap like $1 on our gas bill. Everything we buy gets taxed too.
That is a fair point. And as somebody who does not pay attention to my bills at all, you're probably making a lot of sense right now, yeah.
That being said, if we take all that into account, you're still saving probably at least, even if you like to splurge, even if you like to eat sushi, even if your unemployed lucha libre husband insisted on buying a nice automobile, you should be saving at least 5 G's a month and setting that aside. That shouldn't be a stretch.
And if you were even saving like $2,000 a month, I mean, you're saving so much more than the average person, and you're creating, if you could save $25,000 a year, I mean, that's fucking very significant. You're investing that. By the time that you get into your 40s, you're going to have a nice fucking nest egg that's been building up and, you know, gaining a ton of interest and
shit. You just fucking plop that shit in the S&P 500.
Right.
You're like a fucking stone sinking into a pond. It sits there.
The most important thing, though, is make your stupid fucking unemployed wrestler boyfriend get a job.
Or maybe a tweak to his character.
Yeah.
Maybe the current thing he's doing is not bringing it. It's not putting butts in seats.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this doesn't even sound real.
I think dissecting his talent as a wrestler is a great idea.
I think we should find out who he is. I mean, I would love to figure out who it is. But also, dude, I've been worrying about this recently. I mean, if we have a nuclear war coming up, I mean, who's to say if our investments in the S&P 500 are even going to be around?
That's a good point.
You ever think about that?
I think about that all the time. If we do some analysis and we figure out that this guy, this wrestler, is actually a bitch-ass buster, and then we tell the New York Times, do you think they will issue a retraction?
I would hope so, if they have any journalistic integrity. What constitutes a buster in the professional wrestling world?
I'm not super deep into it, but I would assume that it would probably basically be like if you're just like not living up to the ideals set forth by Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage and all of these legends who came beforehand. Like, for instance, if we find out that this guy is no longer a professional wrestler because he couldn't stop fucking slamming testosterone into his ass, or maybe he got caught bending his homie over and fucking him in the parking lot of a Whole Foods in West Hollywood and it was captured on somebody's rear driving cam. I'm sorry, Michael Barbaro, I think that you owe us a retraction.
I was going to say, the first thing you mentioned, slamming testosterone pills, probably is one of the ideals that Vince McMahon set out.
True.
Bending your homie over and fucking him, I don't know how they get down, but that might be an issue.
I think Vince McMahon really, if you remember, he kind of like got into steroids late in his career because he looked like kind of a normal guy, I'm pretty sure. And then he wanted to become a wrestler himself. And in order to get into the ring, he got on the juice. And then all of a sudden he's red and he's swollen and looking all crazy.
Dude, I don't know anything about professional wrestling. Like, I love it, but the most I know about that world is like I had a Hulk Hogan lunchbox that my mom bought me against my will when I was a child.
I loved it as a kid. But even as a kid, even as like a 6 or a 7-year-old, I remember thinking like, okay, well, this is actually pretty stupid, right? Like this is not the kind of thing that I'm going to be watching for more than like a year or two. You're not hitting each other. It took me a little bit to figure that out, but once I realized they weren't really hitting each other, the storylines are retarded. I mean, when I watch it and I see all these like 30 and 40-year-old guys in the stands watching it, holding up signs, I'm kind of like, I don't get it. I don't understand what's keeping you stuck on this, really. If you're like a UFC fan, I get it. There's some actual athletic competition going on. I could be invested in that.
And I'm pretty sure when Fox had a TV deal with the UFC, they ended the contract with the UFC because they wanted to go after professional wrestling because professional wrestling was still bringing in bigger numbers than real dudes really fighting.
That's fucked up.
So I don't know what that has to say. I'm sure all of those guys were not there at the opening of the Bros movie.
Yeah.
Everybody who attends WWE, but that's a powerful lobby in this country. A lot of people going to those.
Well, I saw somebody tweeting about how actually Triple H is from my hometown of Nashua, New Hampshire. And the problem with that is that they don't know that I actually went to Triple H's house when I was a kid and I took a shit on his doorstep.
As a prank?
Yeah.
Was it in a bag that was on fire?
No, I squatted on his doorstep and I took a dump.
You know, that's not much of a prank, Adam. The idea is you light the bag on fire, put the shit inside.
He wasn't home.
You wait for him to come home.
Well, that's what we did. I pooped on his doorstep and then we rang the doorbell, ran away, hid across the street, pretty quickly realized like, oh, there's no car in the driveway and all the lights are off. He's definitely not home. He's a pro wrestler. Obviously, he's on the road a very large percentage of the year. And then never did it again. But I used to hear people would tell me like Triple H saw him at the gym, saw him with China at the grocery store. They spent a lot of time in Nashua. If Triple H sees this, he's going to know that I really did live in the hometown of him. And he probably never encountered the poop realistically. But
he's got people who clean that up.
It could have easily been somebody else's house. And then it could have just been like a stray shit just dropped off.
You had no evidence it was Triple H's house before you took a shit on the doorstep?
I was like 13. So at this point in time in 1997 when I was 13, it was really a wild world where like you could do anything. You could believe anything.
And what I'm sure your source on this is Triple H's house is like some kid rode by on a skateboard and was like, hey, you know that pro wrestler lives in that house over yonder.
Yeah, no, it was like a rumor around. But keep in mind, this is around the same time that I believed that Britney Spears had to have her stomach pumped because she had 12 different dudes' jizz in it.
And Marilyn Manson got a rib removed to suck his own dick.
Which that is actually not that out of the ordinary. Well, it's out of the ordinary, but I've heard about like Instagram models getting a rib removed because they want to like basically change their figure. So that I'm not saying that Marilyn Manson did it. I feel like if he did, that we would probably know by now.
Yeah.
But that is a thing that you can do.
How Instagram is fucking chicks up, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I follow out of curiosity a couple of just plastic surgeryed out bimbo chicks on Instagram who have OnlyFans. And more than a few of them have escalated their plastic surgery rapidly to the point where they no longer look like human beings.
Yeah.
And then deleted their Instagrams.
Really?
And deleted their Twitters and disappeared from the face of the earth.
Really?
I've seen young, like 20-year-old college chicks blow up on the Explore page, get hundreds of thousands of followers, and likewise, after posting a string of successively sluttier pictures, disappear off the face of the internet.
Really?
And my only thought is like somebody in their family had an intervention, or they slit their wrists and tried to take their own lives. Something catastrophic happened relating to their public persona and their mental health.
See, I see the insane plastic surgery, but I don't really see them leaving that often. That's the thing that I guess I haven't seen, or maybe they leave and I just don't even notice. But what I will say is that, see, my girl has had very little plastic surgery, you know, a little bit of fillers, whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, she had
standard,
a BBL, she got fake ass, so it's fake
LA
tits. I guess
stuff,
actually she's had a ton of plastic surgery, but in comparison to a lot of girls out there, very little.
I'm talking like face readjustments.
But so then I have to basically convince her not to get plastic surgery on a relatively consistent basis because she will see somebody like Kazumi, who Kazumi just recently had a crazy facelift done. You see her with a black bandage wrapped around her fucking head and shit. I mean, Kazumi looks great.
Kazumi's hot.
Kazumi
She's got a billboard in LA now. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not see that.
Congrats to her. She's got a billboard for her OnlyFans.
Wow.
Right on some street.
She's inspired me so much with that act. But all I'm saying is that Kazumi looks great. Her face looks great. Her body looks great. She's still out here going out and getting these expensive, weird fucking like facelift things. To a lot of these girls, they're just completely lost with this shit where they think that they need to constantly be making themselves look better. And my thing about it is like, if you look okay, if you look good, just wait a couple of years. Like I had a girl who was 21 when I was at the store, super hot Latina chick, big ass boobs, big ass. And she's telling me she wants to get a BBL just because, like, for no reason. I'm like, listen, you're 21. I'm like, when you're 25, this might be a reasonable decision.
Yeah.
Doing this now when you literally sit around eating fucking hot Cheetos all day is just insane.
That's racist. But
that is racist. But she literally, I think I remember.
They do that. They all eat hot Cheetos.
She had a bag of hot Cheetos in her hand. Though.
At the time, actually. Or is that just your racist white mind putting that into her hand?
No, but you know what I'm saying? Is like, you're going to go out and you're going to spend $20,000 getting your body done or whatever, but you won't sign up to take personal training classes a couple times a week. You won't focus on your diet and eating correctly and taking care of yourself. You sit around and smoke backwoods and drink fucking, what's a beer that's not associated with Mexican people? Heinekens. You drink Heinekens.
Those are Dutch, right?
I don't know.
No, we're in the clear there.
Mexicans could drink them too if they want, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and also I feel like our idea of a 10 has changed. Like, to me, a 10 is a girl who's just like beautiful and looks like, in LA it's standard to get some work done. But nowadays the 10 is like veneers. I see a lot of rich, successful, handsome dudes with chicks with veneers. Obviously eyebrows and jawbones and cheeks are being rearranged, and it's not attractive to me. I like the closer to the college sorority girl next door type look.
Yeah.
That's the neighborhood I'm looking to move into as far as my ideal chick.
Right. I mean, we are deranged by our experience living out here. And like, one thing that stands out to me, like we had a girl on the Patreon the other day. Really, really pretty face, nice boobs, skinny, good ass. But she said she's like, I'm thinking about getting hip implants, and I'm thinking, like, what are you fucking talking about? You look great. You don't need hip implants. And then she stands up right in front of me, and she did kind of have like her hips go straight a little bit, and then they curve out, right? So it's like,
and you got on board. You were like, yeah, you can
I was like,
hip implant.
I see the point. I see what you're saying here. Like, if anyone was going to get hip implants, you are kind of maybe making a pretty good case right here. But then, I'm in New York the other day, and I see a chick, and she's hot as fuck, big ass tits, no ass. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, in prior generations, I think that like we as a people would have just kind of accepted like pretty face, big boobs, doesn't have a big ass, whatever.
Yeah.
My mind is so shaped that it's like I can't not think, oh, she should get a fake ass. Like that's what my brain goes to. Like, how do you not have a fake ass? Which is kind of fucked up that my brain is like fully wrapped up in that.
It was from the industry you're in, I completely understand it. And I watch a lot of like vintage big titty chick porn.
Right.
I used to. I've been trying to cool it on the porn. A lot of those girls too disappear. Like, Josh, you try to find me an image of Pandora Peaks past 2008, you're not going to find one, buddy.
Pandora Peaks?
Pull up Pandora Peaks.
I never heard of it.
Fucking Tiffany Towers. These chicks get these volleyball-sized breast implants.
Tiffany Haddish?
Tiffany Haddish. She actually she opened a hookah shop, I think, on Venice Boulevard.
Yeah, no, but definitely I think about that because when I think about all the women that I was jerking off to in porno magazines in like 1996, and yeah, they all have fake boobs kind of like this. And I follow a Twitter account that's like 90s porn. It's like a straight porn fan who goes through his collection and like captures off of VHS tapes like footage or photos from the 90s of chicks getting fucked. And it's crazy because sometimes you'll see girls who have like the prettiest faces who if they were alive now, they would be like some poppin' Instagram model.
Like Christy Canyon.
But at that time, they had no other option besides to become porn stars and get these fucking ridiculous boobs. Like who was telling these girls that they should get their tits done this big? It's kind of insane. This is an anomaly now. There's only a handful of girls you ever see with boobs this big.
Dude, you're so right, man. Chicks who were just hot in the 90s, they had Playboy or legitimate model, but legitimate modeling is like impossible because if there's anything that's determined to be wrong with your eye to ear to jaw ratio, like you're out of the business. Yeah. It's sort of like you were talking about how you would take today's world over the 90s world where, there used to be hucksters walking around with leather jackets telling you were the shit. But now guys like us can start a podcast or do a YouTube channel that makes us a good living. And a chick who's smoking hot but not hot enough to be a Victoria's Secret angel, she can make $100,000 a month showing her hoo-hoo.
Yeah, it used to be like, I want to be a model. A girl would say she want to be a model, or like, I would like to be a model, but I'm 5'3", and it's like, you can't be a model unless you're like 5'8", perfectly skinny, super tall, whatever. Now, if you were to meet a girl at the bar and she were to say that she was a model and maybe she's got a cute face and she's kind of thick, but got boobs, she got ass, whatever, you'd be like, all right, yeah, she's modeling for something. Like
OnlyFans.
now the world allows for all these different types to have their own little fan base, whereas the market used to be so controlled, you know?
And now, like, we have taken down the mainstream. Bros was produced by Judd Apatow. Mainstream picture coming out from a major studio, $4 million at the box office. They spent, all told, probably like over a year producing that movie. I think it's safe to say that the No Jumper enterprise is going to bring home, especially when you consider Plug Talk too. You guys are going to bring in a lot more than $4 million this year.
Well, I think the important thing though is that shit, it's not like they made $4 million. They brought in $4 million at the box office. I think it was supposed to bring in like 8 to be considered like reasonably successful.
You're right, and then also it was a $22 million budget. So they're way in the fucking hole. I didn't even think about that.
The question is, will a gay movie of this scale ever be made again? And what changes will they make? And I love how we're making all these assumptions about it, having not seen it, but having just seen the trailer, I really don't feel like I have to see it.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm probably going to zone out and fall asleep like I did last night watching Game of Thrones. I don't know. I don't really see it.
It could be a homework assignment for the show. Josh, you're not getting out of this one.
But I have to go to a movie theater.
Oh, fuck. It's not out yet? We can't pirate it? I miss those days.
Do you think it's on the Pirate Bay? That would be hilarious.
PirateDay.org.
The Pirate Gay.
The Pirate Gay.
There's the title of the episode.
The Pirate Gay.
The Pirate Gay. But, okay. We got to be careful because we got age restricted on our last one.
I saw it, dude. It was blowing up, and then it got age restricted.
It was doing good, but then Trev even said, like, Trev's like, yeah, bro, because Trev's whole YouTube channel was all weed stuff.
Yeah,
and then during the adpocalypse, I think he got like really fucked. Yeah. So to him, this is old news. To me, I'm used to being able to smoke weed in the episodes. I think the difference is you can't smoke weed in the episode and then also title the episode. Look how high we got.
Because that we could be like, that's a clove cigarette. What are you talking about? But the whole thing was like, hey, Danny, I'm going to put some marijuana in this bong. You ready to take this hit right now? Like,
it might have been the presence of a known sex pest.
Is Yuri a known sex pest?
Well,
sex pest?
I mean, I might be adding a little bit of my own flair to that statement, but he's kind of a pest to me. He says he has sex all the time. I don't know.
Yeah, but a sex pest implies that he's going around the studio like grabbing dicks and asses.
Oh, he does, yeah.
Yuri does that too?
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's why the video got age restricted.
Yeah. Maybe. Oh, it's because we forgot to cut out the scene where he was molesting us after the episode.
It was mostly Josh he went after.
Do you know Adam, is it Friedman or Friedland? Do you know who this guy is?
What does he do?
He's a comedian.
No.
He has a podcast that I think used to be called Cumtown Friedland.
Yeah, he did it with Nick Mullen. Nick Mullen, yeah.
Right. So
Nick Mullen's funny.
Okay.
He's an edgy dude. He'd be a good addition to Sledgelords for a visit sometime. Josh is hyped right now.
He tweeted this 3 days ago. He tweeted, at No Jumper, I'll be in Los Angeles this weekend. I would love to come on your podcast to promote a project I've been working on, CC Adam 22. Response tweet to that. I am serious. If anyone could connect, I would greatly appreciate it. I responded, I don't pod on the weekends, but DM me, let's talk. I followed him, did not follow me back. And then on Thursday, he didn't follow me back, but he did message me. Thursday.
Still bad etiquette.
Well, I guess I probably shouldn't read his DMs. But basically saying he wants to do the pod. I responded on Thursday, when do you dip? And then I actually hit him up again on Saturday. Man, your show is so fucking funny. I just started listening because I listened to one episode. I think it used to be called Cumtown, and they changed the name to the Adam Friedland Show. Oh, it got canceled, and this is a whole new show.
Josh, okay. I know you're not on mic right now.
I only listened to one episode.
Who canceled it? Was it canceled? I think they just decided to do their own. The comedian. That's the kind of canceling that scares me less. So I thought you were saying Patreon or somebody cracked down on it.
I was searching Cumtown on YouTube, and it's pretty barren. They don't have like a ton of presence on there as far as I can tell, but there's this other dude, Stavros or some shit, some other comedian.
From what I understood,
he was talking about how he left the podcast.
It was primarily on Patreon, dude, and they were pulling in what is an insane amount of Patreon money for a podcast that has like no outside promotion. If you do a Patreon show, obviously it's going to blow up. But these guys were relatively underground New York City comedians
in the beginning,
as far as I knew. Yeah, and they started a podcast, and it just like that gives me faith in the internet that show was so funny. It just blew up, and people were willing to pay for it to the point where I think they were bringing in $100,000 a month from the Patreon. Yeah, no promotion.
It's weird because I'm getting a lot more into listening to comedy podcasts now because it's kind of like helping me to think about, okay, what am I actually doing when I sit down here with Danny and we start talking about random topics. I have a lot of respect for people who can just sort of throw something out there and then just start thinking about funny shit to say about it on the spot. That's like, it's like a real muscle that we're kind of trying to work on here.
It's also, we do this show pretty early on Monday morning, which might be the worst time possible to be funny.
You think?
I think so.
I think I'm probably more comfortable being funny on a Monday morning because the Tuesday thing, like doing it at 6 p.m., like late night, I'm just not as on it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. I also just got off a plane today, so maybe I'm feeling it especially
You just
hard.
got off a plane?
I just got off a plane.
From SAC?
I threw on a wrinkled Green Bay jersey. No, from Tahoe, dude.
Oh, right.
I was fucking slanging dick to my chick in my parent's car when I was up there.
Dick
I was
to my
slanging
chick?
dick.
Dude, I'm going to get a taste of what it's like to be single because my girl's leaving for 3 weeks.
You're going to cheat on your girl?
Yeah. No.
This is a nice place to confess
but she's going overseas for 3 weeks. She's taking my kid and her assistant. And I'm going to just be in my house having to figure out what life is like, not having a ball and chain dragging you down.
Jerkfest 2022, baby.
It's already Jerkfest, honestly.
You've been jerking it a lot? See,
in New York, in the hotel?
Why are we jerking off so much in the hotel in New York?
Because I got nothing else to do. I mean, I got plenty of shit to do, but jerking off seems like a good way to sort of bookmark each task.
Bookend?
And bookmark.
Bookmark? You can jerk off into the place in the book you stopped reading.
You have any bookmarks
Come
at
back.
home? My mom was all about bookmarks.
Dude, it's great.
Yeah.
But if you just are jizzing in the book, first of all, you're not bringing down the rainforest because those things are made out of paper.
No, yeah.
But second of all, I mean, dude, like you're trying to find your spot in Huckleberry Finn. It's
Right.
the 2 pages that are stuck together. Just pry those apart and pick up at the top of that paragraph.
And I like to jerk off for about every 2 pages that I read.
Especially
Maybe 2 to
Huckleberry
3.
Finn.
Yeah.
Especially when it gets going with
And
the
that's really
N-word.
what the bookmark is for, is to prevent the jizz from seeping through to the pages I haven't already read.
Yeah, yeah. The Huckleberry Finn, dude. I mean, is there really any more Yeah, it's the most jerkable book there fucking is. There's 2 kids floating down a river with a big black man.
Right.
Sexy shit, dude.
You know what I really found myself reflecting on Sunday was just the fact that there was a time period in American history where a major record label allowed one of the biggest bands in the world to put out an album with a child's penis on the cover.
Nirvana, Nevermind.
Isn't it? Like but it's hard for people now to understand that we didn't really think it was a big deal back then.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like I remember seeing it and just thinking like, even in my I was probably like 12 when I first saw the Nevermind album cover. And I definitely, as a kid, thought, baby penis. That's weird.
Why am I hard right now?
Why? Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta relieve myself.
I gotta go jerk off.
Anybody got a bookmark?
Yeah.
But then
Anybody got a Tolkien novel?
I'm 13. I got over it. I'm like, okay. I mean, why would it be offensive to put a baby's penis on an album cover? I guess. You know?
See, I think it's better because it's a baby. And wanting to fuck babies isn't really a sexual fetish. The pedophiles want to fuck kids who are under 13 and older than like
babies.
5. They do, but those are in third world countries and dark basements somewhere.
But okay, the worst shit that I've ever heard, because like, okay, Sam Harris did a podcast at one point about the realities of child pornography online and how bad it is. And like at one point he's describing, and I can't believe I'm about to say this on a fucking comedy podcast, but he's describing like a Zoom call that was like essentially being done on the dark web, I think. And it's like one guy like basically like sexually torturing a child, like a very small child, while a bunch of dudes are watching. Like this is how bad it gets. Like whatever the worst thing you can think of is, it's happening somewhere online.
Blake Lively, I know this because Leo, my other podcast partner, constantly brings this up. What if we ended the podcast? What if we ended the podcast right there? Leo always brings up this Blake Lively speech. He uses it to get out of anything he does wrong.
Who's Blake Lively?
She is, I think, married to Ryan Reynolds. But like,
who's that? It's like an actor.
Ryan Reynolds. He was in what's the show about college? Van Wilder, and then he was in Waiting, and now he's like in.
I remember that.
He's in all kinds of shit. You know Ryan Reynolds, dude? No. He's in Deadpool. He's the Deadpool guy. It's okay. I don't know most celebrities either. Lena Dunham, for instance. But Leo, anytime he like applies excessive force on the back of a girl's head when he's getting blown in a parking lot,
right,
and then it leaks out because she takes to Twitter, he'll be like, "Why are you getting mad at me? Blake Lively gave a speech about umbilical cord porn."
Right.
And it's exactly what you described. It's a guy who's got a studio in the basement of like an abandoned castle in Bulgaria, who is waiting for some local peasant woman to give birth. And then he's banging the baby while it's connected on webcam.
Oh my God, are you fucking serious?
Dude, it's real fucked up.
Wait. He gave a speech about this?
Blake Lively did.
Condemning it, I would assume.
You'd be surprised.
Not
It was a little
promoting.
ambivalent. But Leo, I'd also want to say that he does not forcibly push girls' faces down onto his penis. That was an
That we
extreme
know
example.
of. But
that we
dude,
know of.
So you're basically telling me that like somehow this woman is being like paid or like forced to do this in some way? Because you can't imagine that she would make the decision to do this unless she was in some sort of state of duress, right?
Dude, I mean, think about what humans are capable of. I was thinking, because my dad is obsessed with the Ukraine war, and he's always telling me like which DEFCON we're at as far as like our proximity to nuclear war.
Right.
And I was thinking like we wouldn't do that, right? Like we wouldn't press the nuclear buttons. China wouldn't invade us. We're civilized.
Right.
But then you just remember back to the middle of the last century when the Japanese were marching into China, raping and killing everybody they saw. When the Germans were putting pistols to the back of Jews' heads and pulling the trigger, putting them in holes and then burying them in mass graves. You realize humans are capable of extremely evil things.
Right.
Given their situations, make those things not seem so extreme.
Okay, but so let's say hypothetically, Putin drops a fucking nuke on New York City. Now, I realize this is very unlikely to happen. So we, in response, send everything we've got, literal nuclear holocaust on all of Russia. Like every like 95% of people in Russia are burnt to a crisp. I realize it's like the biggest continent in the world. This is an ecological
It's
disaster.
cold there, too.
A lot of
It'd be
things to
hard to do
consider here. But let's say that happens. So you've got New York City. Everybody in a 10-mile radius is basically melted. And then same thing, we just dropped nukes on Moscow. We just killed 20 million people. Whatever, I remember they got.
Bunch of yaks, too.
Is it going to be hard to come on here and be funny? Like, is there anything that could happen that would make it so it's like, we can't joke around?
I don't know if our economy could still exist in that environment, because there'd be a power vacuum, and China would probably start pulling up battleships off of our coast,
You could
trying to
imagine
wipe
that
us out.
a lot of the advertisers who are dumping money into YouTube would probably pull back a little bit given the whole nuclear holocaust.
If we came in here and we did a routine where it was like I was Biden and you were Putin, and we like jizzed on each other, but our penises were, we had paper mache to make them look like missile silos or
The
something.
makeup artist is going to be kind of creeped out when I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to be Putin right now. The guy who just dropped a nuke on New York, yeah.
Oh, you're thinking like YouTube and the ad thing is still going to be functioning and up and running
There's going to be a lot of shit to deal with.
if we go nuclear.
Well, I think they're going to do it before we do it.
I think probably so.
It's looking ugly because Putin is really kind of looking backed into a corner. Before, we all had this idea that Russia was this big military superpower and that like really they were going to probably like fuck Ukraine up real quick, and that there was going to be some kind of, you know, exchange where like Ukraine was essentially going to be given to them, and who knows what the fuck was going to happen. Now it's looking like Putin is backed into a corner. And it's not necessarily going to be that long until he's feeling real desperate and like he doesn't have anywhere to go. And I think once he gets to that point, he's going to start dropping these fucking tactical nukes. And it's not going to be on New York. It's probably going to be on parts of Ukraine, right?
And he said he was going to do it. He said he would. He didn't say specifically, but he said he would consider using all kinds of weaponry, and this is not a bluff.
And
that's what he said recently.
And this is the thing about Putin, from what I've learned, is that he has never de-escalated in his career. You know, a lot of people will get up to the precipice and then kind of pull back. They're saying that, you know, he just does not seem like he has that in him.
Yeah. And even if he dropped the tactical smaller nuke on the Ukrainians, like, what the fuck can we do?
Yeah.
We can be like, hey, that wasn't good. Stop doing that. But if we want to actually make him stop, that seems like it would require military force.
We're going to have to start World War III if we're going to do anything to them in response. If America, and that's the thing, is that we're basically like funding and we're using Ukraine to fight this battle on our behalf, right? We're giving them all the money, all the weaponry, or whatever. If we do any of the attacking on our own, then Putin's basically saying he's going to drop nukes. But for now, it's them basically acting on our own behalf. Who's to say that Putin doesn't at a certain point say like, okay, you guys giving them weapons is basically bad enough. Let's drop some fucking nukes.
Yeah, I just think he's got to know, like you said, if he fires anything our way at us, we have Not even if he, in the middle of the night, launched all of his nukes our way, and for some reason our nuclear detection systems were down, and he hit all of our major cities, all of our places where we have our missiles aimed at Moscow, all of our nuclear arsenal and all of our major cities are wiped out in America. We still have Trident submarines all over the globe that are underwater and undetectable, that are loaded up with nuclear warheads that could carry out the counterattack. So he can't nuke us. If he wants Russia to continue and him to live, he can't nuke us.
Because the other thing is that China and India and all these other countries will basically be forced to not fuck with him on a whole different level. So if he does drop a nuke, it's basically going to force a situation in which he's going to be so isolated from the rest of the world economy that it's going to be real fucked up. Like even if we don't drop nukes on him, you're going to see massive starvation in Russia to the point where you're going to see so many goddamn dead people. It's going to be fucked. Is there a little part of you that's like, it would be fun to live through that timeline?
Oh, dude. I was just reading The Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, and at the beginning, Bilbo's complaining. He's like, "I wish the ring had never come to me. I wish I'd never lived to see these times." And I sounds very English. I don't know what he is. It's like a Hobbit accent. And then Gandalf's like, "Everybody wishes that who lives to see such times, but that is not for us to decide." And I was reading that thinking like, boy, that would suck to have to carry the ring to Mordor, and there's orcs and everything's war. What if that was our time?
Yeah.
What if you and I couldn't talk about fucking into a microphone with some cameras pointed at us while Josh watches? And what if we had to defend Los Angeles from a Chinese landing invasion?
You're gonna know that world affairs are all fucked up when you hear about Adam 22, Danny Mullen, and Keemstar getting recruited to the U.S. Army because we are running out of equipped soldiers.
But just us, like David Dobrik and Danny Duncan, they can keep doing their thing.
Yeah. Definitely.
Danny Dobrik. Danny Duncan can still ride dirt bikes around in Florida, but you and I are like men in the artillery things.
I think as long as we got Keemstar, we'll be all right.